To Xeron, loyal servant of His Majesty Lucifer Kreegan, killer of his king's enemies. Upon receiving this letter, kill the messenger. No one is to learn of its contents. Should its information fall into the hands of an enemy, our kingdom of Fearful may find itself the victim of a greater nation's aggression. Though we have met and spoken frequently since the death of our previous lord, King Xenofex, I have yet to tell you how I came to know of his death before anyone else in the kingdom. On the night of the day Xenofex fell to a band of adventurers, he came to me in a dream. As I slept, my dream form walked through a lush forest of rich green foliage and warm sunbeams. As I walked, the stench of fresh earth and morning dew surrounded to the fragrance of charcoal and sulfur. Through the parting trees I stepped into a clearing. At my feet lay a simmering pool of molten rock, warming my face to the heat rising from the pool. I leaned over and peered inside. At the bottom, barely visible, rested a breastplate. Unafraid of injury, I plunged my arm into the pool and grabbed the artifact. Unscorched, I withdrew my arm and held before my eyes the breastplate of brimstone. I could not help but feel my own exaggerated grin as I put on the prized artifact. However, my elation faded as I heard the echo of an insane cackle. After a moment of stillness, with nothing but the sound of the leaves rustling in the faint breeze, then the laughter came again. Its direction was obvious, so I walked toward the source. As I grew closer, the laughter became louder and more frequent, until I came upon a shield set against a dead tree. The laughter reached a fevered pitch, threatening my sanity as it drew close. With much concentration, I was able to grab and lift the artifact. The laughter ceased. It was the shield of the damned. No sooner did I hold the shield than my ears heard a horrible screeching. I spun around. For a split second, I glimpsed the sword speeding through the air. I raised the shield of the damned to deflect the attack. Cartwheeling backwards, the blade hovered for a moment, then dove. Again, I parried the attack. This continued until finally the blade tired and dropped to the ground. Carefully I approached and picked up the artifact. It was a sword of hellfire. As I rose, I saw before me Xenofex. He turned and began walking away. I followed and eventually caught up with him. He was standing next to an old man seated on a tree stump. The old man was examining the construction of a wild rose. He had plucked from a nearby bush. Under the watchful eye of Xenofex, I approached. At the feet of the old man I placed the breastplate of brimstone, the sword of hellfire, and the shield of the damned. Stepping back, I watched as the old man put aside the flower. Picking up the sword, he examined the blade, then lifted the shield from the ground. By a means I do not understand, he folded the artifacts together, creating a new sword. He then repeated this feat, folding the sword into the breastplate, creating a final artifact, a sword with a strong blade and a golden bird lifting its wings at the hilt. After the old man laid the magnificent blade on the ground, Xenofex stepped forward. Taking the blade in his hands, Xenofex looked in my direction, grinned, then, with great strength, drove the blade into the ground. In an instant, a flash of white blinded me. My vision returned in time to see the blade conjure an ocean of fire to wash over the world. These waves of fire spread fast as lightning burning, all in its path. When it was over, Xenofex and I stood face to face on a world charred black. Examining the face of Xenofex, I saw only satisfaction and glee. He then stepped backward away from the blade, as it spoke to me. I am the blade of Armageddon. Carefully I approached. Stretching out my hand, I reached for the blade. Before I could touch it, time froze and the vision shimmered. I awoke. I know Xenofex came to me the moment after he was killed. I know not why, but it is my destiny and duty to possess Armageddon's blade. With it, I will set the world on fire. Go forth and search the land for the breastplate of brimstone, the sword of hellfire, and the seed of the damned. When you have the three artifacts, seek out the old man. I do not know who he is, but I have no doubt you will find him. It is your destiny. When you have finished, return to me with the blade. Your king, Lucifer Kreegan.
Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe on this channel and consider supporting me on Patreon. Leave a comment below to let me know what other part of Heroes 3 lore you would like to be explored next. Cheers!